Sunset Overdrive is a game that perfectly replicates the average Warframe player's experience by making gameplay that is so fast and downright fun that it should be a crime. Whether or not that crime is punishable by defense is up to the government, and we all know how that's going to go. Set in the beautiful vistas of Sunset City in the year 2027, otherwise known as Los Angeles present day, we play as the legendary video game protagonist Player with Personality Disorder on her quest to escape Sunset City after a new energy drink called Overcharge hit the market, which caused the entire population to turn into flesh-eating monsters called alcoholics upon consuming its quirked-up molecules. In doing so, many mutations of those alcoholics were born, such as the Big Chungus, the Goddamn Spitter, robots from the Matrix, and of course, those fuckers. This game is an absolute treasure of a title, one that has gone unnoticed by the majority of the gaming scene, and one that is overlooked in gaming's greatest legends. And after playing it myself recently, I'm starting to wonder why it undersold, and why it was forgotten. So strap in, as it's time to rail grind from side railing to beachside railing, to swing from power lines to the rooftops, shooting exploding teddy bears and firing flaming cock balls out of a gun shaped like a Choden balls, to join a Dungeons & Dragons fan club that is so fucking high that they deserve to be in a Jake Paul video, and witness some of the best fourth wall breaks in all of gaming, as we head into what I believe to be gaming's greatest lost legend of the 2010s. This is Sunset Overdrive. Developed by Insomniac Games and published by Microsoft on the Xbox One in October 2014, and later being ported to PC by Blind Squirrel Games in 2018, Sunset Overdrive went on to only sell 1.9 million copies worldwide, and would make roughly around 50 million in revenue. However, after splitting this revenue with the game's many developers and publishers, Insomniac only made about $567 back for their efforts. It's a game that was well received, scoring high ratings from even the best of reviewers and journalists, and helped set the stage for many gameplay mechanics that would appear in future games made by Insomniac. And yet, no one ever talks about it. So let's start talking about it by getting into the story of Sunset Overdrive. And in order to do that, it's time to get into the lore segment of this video. Yeah, so on July 13th, 2027, this super cool and hip business named FizzCo decided to host a massive pre-release party for their upcoming energy drink called Overcharge Delirium XT. However, because FizzCo wanted to get their drink out real quick, they chose to skip all forms of health regulation protocols and rush straight through testing, just like me in any relationship. This caused their new drink to be so fucking toxic that it transforms anyone who drinks it into a violent mutant known as an overcharge drinker. And with haste, the entirety of Sunset City is consumed in an apocalyptic outbreak dubbed as Horror Night. Meanwhile, FizzCo quarantines the area and puts up a force field surrounding Sunset City, so no one can leave and no one can come in. Our player is a janitor working for FizzCo, and after being saved from nearly dying from the likes of this broke white man, we get to deal with this apocalypse ourselves. Okay, I think I got everything. With the general story of Sunset Overdrive laid out, it's only fair that we touch on our next segment, that being the gameplay. This is a long video after all, so getting the gameplay out of the way first seems like a good idea. You might want to grab a beer because this is going to be a lot to explain, so let's go. When it comes to the gameplay of Sunset Overdrive, it's actually surprisingly simple to understand. And while there is quite a few different layers of gameplay to touch on, they all flow and work together incredibly well. At a base level, Sunset City is designed with one goal in mind: to keep the player moving all the time without stopping. You're able to move and walk on pretty much anything, and the developers make it your goal to never stop moving, both in and out of combat. Whether this be by rail grinding, sliding on water, bouncing off different objects, dashing in the air, wall running, and much more. If you're on foot trying to kill the OD, good fucking luck. This game forces you to keep moving at all times, just like me whenever I realized that I'd suck at talking to people. And whilst you're doing cool stunts and killing ODs, you'll be feeling your style meter. And in its name, building combos of stunts whilst jumping all across Sunset City and killing ODs will increase the level of your style meter. And increasing your style meter is going to be important. But let's touch on that in a moment. You're probably wondering, how am I going to kill the OD anyway, Panda? I can't just poke him with a stick and call it a day. Well, say hello to the insane arsenal that Insomniac has included. Whether this be from a shotgun that looks like a set of cock and balls, to a gun that forces a robotic dog to wreak havoc faster than I did in bed last night, to your classic AK-47 that tells you to fuck off in its name, or a literal teddy bear launcher named TNT Teddy that shoots adorable teddy bears with dynamite strapped to their chests to explode shortly after I violated the Geneva Convention. Maya's gonna be pissed about that last one, boys. You can purchase new weapons from vendors all around Sunset City using overcharge cans, which act as one of your 2 currencies in this game. In addition, you have a decent amount of melee weapons, my personal favorite being Excalimune, that shoots literal nukes all around you like you're Goku ready to send someone to fucking Neptune. Just don't complete the story quest it's part of, and it'll stay like that forever. And even so, there's still more to talk about. You have traps that you can use to slow down the OD. Some include fire and ice traps that you'll need to bounce on to activate, that will freeze or set your enemies ablaze. You also have the classic yin-yang skinny fang that will slice ODs into 2, or a flame boar that also helps represent what I need to do to myself for when I'm not welcome. All of these traps cost power, and you can only have a certain amount of them active at any given time, forcing some strategy for the player to think about. Moving back to our weapons, you can make your weapons and yourself stronger through 2 main systems, that being amps and overdrives. Amps can be applied to yourself and to your weapons, that can give your gun special effects and bonuses. These can be as simple as increasing your flat damage, applying fire or ice attacks upon hitting an enemy, making your bullets explode upon impact, or making your gun level up faster. Some amps are also used when reaching a specific level on your style meter, hence why building your style meter and maintaining it is extremely important. Bear in mind that some of your weapons are better for certain types of OD, which you can see here. So your weapon choice does matter to some extent, which I find to be a great idea. Overdrives can be purchased using badges, and you'll obtain badges for pretty much anything. You can think of them like challenges that you'll complete retroactively, and by completing those challenges, you will earn badges. Overdrives are passive buffs that are applied to your character. Some of these can include more weapon damage to certain OD types, overall damage, more health, higher ammo capacities, etc. We also can't forget about the types of OD that you're going to be facing in Sunset City, because there's quite a few of them and each of them have their own strengths and weaknesses. Poppers are kinda like a boomer from Left 4 Dead in the sense that they just run at you and explode, luring the OD to your location. They can also jump onto railings to jump scare you at a moment's notice. Blowers are not what your dirty mind thinks it is, but it does involve a leaf blower because their right arm is a fucking leaf blower that will shoot sludge balls at you from a distance and will try to cover you in Nickelodeon slime. So long as you dodge them, these guys are a piece of cake, and they aren't getting any of my cake tonight. Gunkers are the kind of people that are gonna cause some gunk in your trunk, as they have liquid nitrogen containers strapped to their backs so they can blast into your anus faster than a Honda Civic can blow a rod. These are your ice type OD that will shoot ice to stop you from bouncing or grinding around the city. So take them with caution, otherwise you're gonna freeze to death, and that's no fun. Perkers are the giant big bad motherfuckers that will throw their own kind in boulders at you if you even look at them. They're considered one of the 3 boss ODs, and you'll find them pretty often whilst exploring Sunset City. Their attacks can hurt you while you're on a grind rail, so be careful with how you try to shoot them down. Spawners, similar to the Herkers, are big boys that spawn ODs from a trash can on their backs, and with a large amount of health, it's best recommended to just spam TNT Teddies at them until they die. After all, he's trash just like me. They also love to run away from you, so you're gonna have to chase them down like he's a kid at a carnival, which I hate. Muggers are the perfect representation of the hunter from Left 4 Dead. The only difference is that we are the girl, and he's the guy wanting to smash. Typically roaming in packs and hiding on the sides of buildings, these guys will try to pounce you and take your lunch money. They are vulnerable if they miss their attack, and have the weakest health pool of the boss ODs, the Herker and the Spawner. That's not to say that you're gonna get Shrek'd though, you're screwed if they catch you. And finally, we have the Wingers, the only OD that is capable of flying. They attack using a beam of ODs, because that totally makes sense, or launching explosive boils at the ground. They love to move around like they're high on crack, making them one of the most difficult enemies to deal with. Shocked, I thought a literal mugger would be worse. While that's the main stuff in regards to gameplay, let's touch on a few smaller details before we get into the game itself. You're able to customize your character with loads of different options to choose from, like this is the GTA 5 RP server. You can buy any character cosmetics using traditional money and not overcharge cans. But don't worry, as you'll get both of these currencies while exploring Sunset City. And as you'll later see, I chose to make my character look like a fucking meme lord. You can buy these items from Callista at any of your bases around Sunset City. There is also a host of collectibles to find, because what's an open world game without some shit to find? Some of these are required to progress the main story, and you'll be using them to purchase new amps from Floyd at your bases around the map. These collectibles can include FizzCo security cameras, fizzy balloons, overcharged hologram signs, toilet paper rolls, dirty shoes, smartphones, and probably a few others that I did not find during my playthrough. In total, not factoring any of the DLC areas of the Mool Rig and FizzCo Robotics, there is a total of 859 collectibles around Sunset City, giving Breath of the Wild's 900 Koroks a run for their money, or leaves I guess. And don't worry if you're having trouble finding them, as you can purchase maps of where they are for each major map region of each type of collectible from Two Hat Jack using overcharge cans. You can also find drawings that will give you a prompt to fill them in. These are actually hidden from the player and don't have any form of purchasable maps to find them. They're actually drawings made by the daughter of the game's director, Ainsley, which is pretty cool. That pretty much covers the overarching gameplay of Sunset Overdrive, and all the little features that help make this game such a treat to play. Everything flows together really well, and it makes it so that nothing feels complicated to understand or equip. It's simple, and it's a great execution of game mechanics that I really like. But now it's time we finally begin the game and wake up following Horror Night on July 14th, I think. Let's just hope this doesn't go bad, otherwise I might just off myself right now. It's been 17 days since the outbreak started, and we wake up to find the OD banging down my door wanting some alcohol. Luckily, our boy Walter comes in to save the day, and gives us a fairly basic tutorial before we head to the Crown Blades factory to collect some parts to fix the vats for our base. No, we're definitely not trying to brew up some drugs. It's not what this looks or sounds like, nope. Suddenly, an announcer starts talking to us and informs us that he's gonna make us learn some shit. After explaining how to equip amps, how to activate them, and how the style meter works, we go through a minigame of sorts that requires us to defend this vat machine while hordes of OD pour into our base. You'll end up doing this at each of Floyd's bases around Sunset City, each one being harder than the last. Regardless, after defending the legendary juices from getting destroyed by the hands of evil, I decide to go do some of the many side quests that the game has to offer. We begin the search for the Santa bots and steal their various soaps. We also help Walter with a group of scabs before attempting to help him with his flying car. It's literally just a BMW Isetta with a shit ton of trash strapped to it. He says don't let go, so we let go, and the car explodes. Great idea, player. Real good. After we finish collecting the soaps from across the city, we return to the Crown Blades factory to then chase down a stranger that screams at 2OD like a pussy. We later meet this kid named Sam, a uni student who is a nerd, doesn't have a girlfriend, and sees me as a shitty white human. Holy shit, I just described myself. After seeing the blower for the first time and seeing them blow Sam, not like that, shut up, we protect Sam as we escape the factory with loads of OD trying to clap my ass. We arrive back at Sam's base at Friedrich Fasper's Mega Pissplex to learn that all of his friends are antisocial phone-loving college students who have never touched grass, and send out the nerdy kid to do all the work. So our new plan is that we need a propeller to fix Walter's flying bubble car, and in order to do that, we're gonna need to convince some of Sam's friends to help us build it. This involves asking his friends what they're gonna need in order to help us, which, considering that they're rich kids, the shit that they're gonna want is the same as any kid in Beverly Hills would want. Dirk wants us to get him some water, but it has to be the most expensive water on the planet. So before we head to the Bora Bora plant to touch said water, we're gonna help this guy get some supplies by searching for some backpacks near the college campus. You know, I didn't want to be near a college campus in my entire life, and this game is about as close as I want to be near one. We make haste for the Bora Bora plant and have to go through a drill to get the facility back up and running. I hope you're ready for the emergency flush system, otherwise known as what happens when you eat Taco Bell at 1 a.m. After seeing the spawner be introduced and swiftly killing him in the suburbs of Los Santos, we finally drain the facility and can get some of that sweet Bora water that we came for. That'll be $25. Next up is Margaret, who lost her dog when everything went down on Friday the 13th. So now we gotta find her dog. And after helping our friendly neighborhood hobo, we finally find her dog at a park somewhere in Little Tokyo. I did a little bit of trolling, and afterwards we learned that Margaret's dog is robotic and is a VTuber. Well shit, so now we have to go to a fucking Toys R Us to acquire a Hello Kitty, to impress this dog like I'm trying to impress a girl on a date. And after proceeding to murder the store clerk like this is a robbery, we return to the dog park to turn said Hello Kitty into a fucking cannon. And we can only use this cannon during this segment, as we command the dog to rip and tear like he's the Doomslayer on a Saturday night at the bar. Bro, I feel like this is just the lure the girl cannon. I mean, the ODs are the girls, and the Hello Kitty is me. So after surviving some ambushes and killing more alcoholics, we return Margaret's dog to her at the Pissplex. Finally, it's time for Max's request. He wants to know if his family is alive, so he wants us to go check up on them. With haste, we go to tower, kill some rude-ass people, and scale said tower that took way too long because I didn't understand how to wall ride, only to learn that his parents left him for dead and left for the Bahamas. That's kind of messed up. We tell Max the news, and it's the best news ever. Regardless, the gang manages to build a 3D printer that's going to help build a propeller to fix Walter's flying shitbox. But not before we have to talk to Floyd about where to find a computer processor. Sam legit just told me that this shit needs a Ryzen CPU because they simped to AMD. Fucking favoritism. Making haste to buck National's hunting blind, he naturally tries to kill us immediately. So he puts us to work by forcing us to make a fucking YouTube video out of the fact that we can shoot a gun. We arrive at the train yard from earlier with the intent to get 250,000 points to get a gold rank. Look, your boy has to get get the best drink to impress the girls watching, okay? After filming the newest Mr. Beast video, we returned to Buck National to get my Ryzen 9 69420X CPU, and then bring that back to Sam to finish off the 3D printer. He says it's gonna take a few hours to print the propeller, so he told us to go do something else in the meantime. So I helped Floyd do another drug cooking session, this time using some of the traps I mentioned earlier. I made some Oxycontin and some fentanyl, so now I can get fucked up so hard that I'll forget what happened last night. The propeller is now done, and we're gonna fly the skies with Walter to test it. That's if they hadn't stolen the glide wheel just moments before we rolled up. So I then decided to crash an Island Boys concert at a park, and we return with the glide wheel to Walter and defend the deformed anime titties and scabs that are trying to destroy it. Suddenly, the fucking Matrix robots show up, and are here to remind you that robots will take over in about 3 weeks from now. Now that we have dealt with the cast of the United States government's Twitter account, we finally take off and fly through the skies of Sunset City, aiming to leave forever. Eventually, we arrive at the edge of the city, only to discover that there's a Windows activation wall. So Walter throws us out of the car and sacrifices himself to save us. Good man. He will be remembered. Regardless, Floyd gives us some comfort by telling us about a guy named Brooklyn, who, much like Walter, might be able to help us escape Sunset City. So before we head to the Japanese museum in Little Tokyo, we're just gonna destroy some cameras that the scabs are using to spy on my white ass, and place it on our building so that we can spy on their white asses instead. Good thinking, Sam. Time for some blackmail. After having a bit of a street fight on the way to fucking anime hell, we arrive at the Heritage Museum to find that this shit is a fucking cult. Norton says that Brill Cream is missing, but according to this BS meter, this is bullshit. 4Kim agrees that Norton is a bit of a cuck, she gets banished, and now we gotta do some shit for this guy to get some answers. After this chick does the worst thing ever and breaks a cat, it's now up to us to collect some cat statues to form the cat again. I better do this one real quick, otherwise a certain someone is gonna cry so hard that she'll make a lake out of her tears. Okay, next up we're gonna help this guy get some comics back. Wait, what? Yeah, we got the average 40-year-old from the 90s sitting here, and he wants to read some comics while he can yank on a piece. There are several quests in a quest chain that are like this, so we're just gonna skip this and move on. Norton tells our player that they cannot find Brill Cream thanks to some transmission towers being cuckolds. So after climbing said tower in an attempt to turn it off before it transmits my browsing history, you don't want to see it, trust me, we are greeted by...
Hey, it's me, Fizzy. Trespassing and destruction of property is a serious crime. Get ready to die, asshole.
Probably the scariest thing known to man. Welcome to the first boss, a literal flying balloon that's probably heavier than your own sack. Either that or heavier than your girlfriend's rack. It also doesn't help that this fucker is FizzCo's mascot, and yet they chose to have him kill me 1 hour into the game. There isn't too much to worry about on this fight, but it's important to know what's gonna happen when the balloon goes pop. Your main goal is to shoot Fizzy's eyes, but be careful, because he's gonna shoot some lasers at you that are made of my opinions on the internet. But considering that Fizzy is just a big squishmallow, they ain't gonna hurt worth shit. Throughout the fight, you're also gonna be chain bouncing on satellite drums, which will stun Fizzy for a short period of time. That's really the main parts of this fight, as you'll mostly be bouncing from rail to rail and drum to drum, shooting at Fizzy and slowly draining his health. I will admit, the burning plushie does make me feel a bit depressed. I know what's gonna happen if I show this to literally anyone I work with. They're gonna be like, the hell did you just do? And to that I say, I destroyed the one thing that could kill me, a sentient being that wants to hug me. Regardless, let's end this giant cotton and metal filled doll that somehow gives me PTSD of Freddy Fazbear and head back to Norton to find Brill Cream for my ass crack. After all, the BS meter already said he's a bit sus, so I gotta send him to the Shadowlands. After defeating God's biggest cuddle monster, Sam tells us to return to his base, as there's a girl that wants to talk to us. Upon glitching into the fortune machine and experiencing the birds and the bees, we proceed to take this AI core to several FizzCo fortune machines to attempt to hack it. Fizzy does get a bit pissed and calls me an asshole and says he's gonna self-destruct and kill me, but you know, this is just some basic stuff that I probably don't need to worry about. We return to Sam's base, starring 4Kim, and she tells us that yeah, Norton is kind of a dick, and they're worried about Brill Cream. So we head to the hot dog factory to find some answers. I will take this over anything else, because I've grown tired of fucking frozen dinners from Walmart, so getting me a long schlong to eat with a bun, some ketchup, and some relish should do the trick. Don't agree with me? Just ask Sonic the Hedgehog, bitch. We look for some totally important evidence at the factory, and later head to a park in order to get some keys to operate a crane. We then play a makeshift game of whack-a-mole with the crane. Either that or it's the crane game, and last I checked, I'm pretty good at those. So I got sidetracked and helped this guy clear some OD off the pier, but for some reason, he stripped us naked and made us wear a herker mask while we did so. For one, thanks for getting me demonetized even though I'm not monetized, and two, this idea is stupid because do you really think the guys on the street are going to be scared by a girl in a bikini? We make haste for the Hepcat diner after giving away my self-worth, to be informed that 4Kim went to the train station alone. So we make haste to save one of the few girls that I would save in this situation and have to rescue her from a group of scab that have kidnapped her. Don't forget to shoot the engines on this train, by the way, because that's definitely not going to kill her and the scab whatsoever. Nope. 4Kim just realized the fourth wall break in this scene, and it was so funny that I spat water out of my mouth and soaked my monitor. After collecting some used toilet paper, Floyd tells us to go fuck up some refrigerators so we can use the parts from them. Not exactly sure why this was the thing he wanted me to break specifically, but hey, don't question the man, okay? After spending 5 minutes questioning why I just broke my local Home Depot supply of refrigerators, we returned to Floyd to do another one of those protect the vat minigames, except this time there's now 2 vats instead of 1. I'm sure that's going to make a massive difference. Shocker. It didn't. We then pick up Sam's package and continue our crusade to find Brill Cream. This guy just sounds like a fucking hemorrhoid medication, and I hate it. But eventually, we finally found Brill Cream locked in a garbage truck. The scabs then decided to burn that truck, and now it's up to us to get him out before he becomes French toast. When we finally do open the truck, we discover that, this guy doesn't have arms or legs. What the fuck? He's a paraplegic, goddammit. So now, carrying a literal human corpse to the streets of San Andreas, we return Brill Cream to his troupe at the museum. Norton proceeds to get pissed about the fact that we ratted him out for locking up Brill Cream ointment. So he drinks a can of Overcharge and becomes a monster known only as a fucking dragon. Welcome to the second boss. I am shocked that it's happening so soon, but here we are. And you can probably imagine what I'm going to say next. I hope you liked rail grinding and bouncing, because you're going to be doing it again here. Your main goal is to jump on the Norgan Dragon's back and body slam its face in true anime fashion. In addition, you're going to be shooting large spikes off its back so that you can land on him safely. Watch out for the large amounts of normal and special OD that will be present throughout the fight. They're here to make the fight more challenging, which I like. It's a simple fight, but it can be challenging if you're not careful, and for that, it earns my respect. So let's finish Norton off and get Brill Cream back. That way we can proceed with the story and not have to worry about the beta cuck ruining my Japanese fantasy. What's that fantasy, you might be asking? Hanging out with any girl ever. Brill Cream tells us that there is no escape from Sunset City, but that we could perhaps seek help from someone who can make a ship out of literal trash that might be able to slip through the barrier and allow us to escape. We also get told that Ignatius, the guy in question, is a LARPer, a live-action role player. This is going badly. Before we subject ourselves to some potential erotic roleplay, let's go find 4Kim's friend Kim, who was exiled for being too uwu or something. We head to the apartments, and through lots of killing, we eventually find her. But since she thinks that we're scabs, we're gonna destroy her pop rocket turrets to make her believe us. I can't help but feel like these things are shooting pop rocks at me, which if they are, then that's fucking disgusting. Kim agrees that she'll give us the plans for her pop rocket turrets if we kill 1,000,000 ODs with them. I'm sorry, but what? I'm not trying to replicate a street fight like this. I'm not Dominic Toretto, okay, lady? So after murdering only 125 ODs, we get the turret plans and leave before I do something illegal. We now make haste for House Fargothia. This is going to go very well, I told myself. And I hope this isn't going to show the one thing that I hate most in this world. Fucking tabletop role-playing games. I'm going to fucking kill myself. So Ignatius is sick as fuck, and this shitty-ass roleplay crew, apart from Wendy, can't get the right stuff for him. So now it's up to us to fix this fucker up to be a king again in what is literally a full-on Dungeons & Dragons campaign. Somebody fucking kill me. This shit is both funny and horrible at the same time. After rolling a natural 1 on attempting to skip, we follow the Fargothians to the Forest of Fargothia, which is literally just a fucking park. So now we gotta protect these brain rot goblin mode fucking bitches while I murder some goblins whilst they harvest some tree bark for their precious king. Alright bitches, let's do this D&D style. I roll several natural 20s and one-shot several goblins. They didn't see it coming. I rolled a 7 and missed a TNT Teddy. Not a good look for your boy. I rolled a 3, got hit several times. I won the wisdom saving throw with a 17 though, so we're good. Let me just roll to attack with my cock and ball gun. Oh, look at that, a 69. That definitely hits. Rolled a natural 1 for reaction, got hit with this facial zit as a response. Drank a potion of ash juice, probably. That totally healed me. My other mates kept rolling 1s and taking damage like a bunch of losers. I kept lowballing my rolls controls for a few rounds and nearly died. The DM got so mad at me that he wanted to chokehold me. I rolled a fat -10 and did a pretty big fucky wucky with this troll. Psych, here's a -100 and here's 2 trolls at once, showing that I fucked around and found out. This shit just became Kuro Inu. Let me roll a fat natural 20 and solve this real fast. Now that the D&D exhibit of bullshit is over, we're gonna help solve the metallic golems that are terrorizing Fargathia. I'm not really sure why they'd be in danger, given that why the fuck would our peers want to go outside when they can just stay inside like it's the Goldshire Inn, am I right? We later head to meet the Fargathians at my local Walmart to find that all of the fucking birds ate the damn food. However, we get the genius idea that if the pigeons are here and they ate all the food, why don't we just eat pigeons? So we literally go into a fucking game show where we have to burn 500 pigeons. Yes, you heard me right, we're burning 500 pigeons alive. So after this, we watch 3 crazy motherfuckers doped up on dopamine ride shopping carts through the streets of Sunset City, whilst we clear out scabs and OD on the way back to House Fargathia. This entire segment of the game makes me question what in the actual fuck Insomniac was smoking when they made this game. It's so good, yet so strange at the same time. This is the kind of shit that some drunk-ass college students would do, and it's cringe as fuck. We later watch Ignatius eat his winner chicken dinner in front of us, and immediately after we tell Ignatius to hold the phone and go screw himself, as we're gonna destroy some more FizzCo controllers. 10 minutes later, we finally decide to talk to Catherine, who tells us that Ignatius has a fever. So now we're heading to Drugs R Us to get some drugs to stop this, because I'm about to ram my head into a fucking wall. We check the trucks for medicine, find some stuff for babies and some other stuff, and then find what we came for, the sleep pills. Wendy tells us to head to the park before we head back, and what happens at the park is nothing short of dumb as fuck. Because these guys are role players, they're not gonna take medicine like a normal 21st century peasant. So we gotta give this medicine to them like they would in RP fashion, like getting leeches to eat us and use our blood to cure Ignatius 12th century style. This shit is scary, mom come pick me up. And after experiencing what a relationship gone wrong feels like, we drink the entire bottle of Fizzotussin on top of being naked and having leeches on us. And after nearly vomiting on the spot, we literally get fucking high on the spot and enter Fizzy's world. God damn it. Welcome to the tag section of the video, where you get to experience what a Grand Slam at Denny's feels like. We play The Floor is Lava, literally, as we chase Fizzy down across the city. And after killing the many Fizzies thanks to this clever thing called Your Stupid Lamau, we finally wake up after saving Ignatius from his fever. He basically tells us that he's gonna work on the boat plans, and he'll get back to us in 10 business days. So while we wait for yet another important story moment, we're gonna go do our 3rd base minigame on this abandoned boat. This one felt way easier than the previous 2. I'll assume it's because I'm lucky. A little bit later, we finally return to Ignatius to attend his version of a court hearing, but not before the roleplay aura finally got to me, and I transformed from a simple white girl that somehow looked like Tari from Meta Runner and became Lollipop Chainsaw X Transformers Model 69 Deluxe. Shortly after becoming God's worst creation, we attend the court hearing in roleplay attire, and we learn that the scabs stole Ignatius' crown. So the final battle is set in motion, and that we're gonna go fuck with the scabs and get the king's crown back. However, Wendy tells us about Lawrence the Leper, who was sent to procure a figurehead of sorts. This is where we get to meet the muggers that I mentioned 20 minutes ago, and they most likely mugged Lawrence of the head and his lunch money. The muggers kill Lawrence quite rudely, and then we mug the muggers back because that's how Los Angeles runs their streets. Now wearing a dragon head, we return to Ignatius to begin our literal raid battle from World of Employee Harassment against the theme park, aiming to get the king's crown back.
To battle! Muggers! Time to make war! Onward, my princes!
We also escort a ram through the park, and it goes so slow that I could run to Taco Bell, take a shit, and come back, and it would still be here. Oh shit. He's finally dead, let's go!
My blood boil!
God damn it, we were so close!
Give me a fucking gun!
Holy shit, the RPers are using guns, let's fucking go! Alright, I'm ready to take you head on. Let's go. Welcome to the third boss of D&D Fuck You Edition, featuring a multi-phase fight that's going to make you question why you threw your girlfriend, friends, and loved ones away to join a Dungeons & Dragons cult. I hope you got your dice and your papers ready, because this shit is about to get so fast that you're gonna think this is the next episode of Drama Alert. During phase 1, you'll be destroying various firework caches on watchtowers that surround the roller coaster. Oh, by the way, we're on a roller coaster. What? This shit is on Space Mountain. If you don't adjust, you're gonna get killed. After doing so, you'll have to follow various flaming minecarts that are rolling on the track. Don't confuse them for the minecarts from the Revenge music video. It's not that time yet, Chief. This ain't 2012. Once these things are done, you'll enter phase 2, where King Scab himself will enter the battlefield with his own flaming minecart that he bought on Wish.com. It's up to you to follow him and attach each car one by one, whilst avoiding the OD that can hop onto the rail tracks at any moment. I failed way too many attempts at being a gamer, so this took a little too long. However, Ignatius did tell me to ram him, and since I have no fucking idea what that means, given I never rammed anything, when I finally did ram him, holy shit, it was awesome.
Comes the pain train! True,
Victory!
And with the King's crown returned, the kingdom of Fargothia is saved. Ignatius tells me that his final act for us is to come back tomorrow to ride his homemade ship out of Sunset City. Upon returning tomorrow, in probably August, we now do what feels like a cross-continental escort mission, as we defend the boat from the OD and heal it using pieces of trash. This shit feels like it just got ripped straight from World of Employee Harassment Classic Edition for the PC, and I both love and hate it at the same time. After a 13-minute ordeal, we finally glitch through the walls of Sunset City and are set free. But Sam calls and says that FizzCo is destroying the evidence, and our friends are the evidence. And after having a heartfelt moment and showing the boat captain the rights of the American Gun Association, it's time to head back to Sunset City and finish the job. After returning to what helped kickstart Cyberpunk 2077, we pull off the perfect any % speedrun to the museum and the Pissplex, and are forced to deal with the cat of the robotic Bible. In this excerpt it reads, "Thou shalt die by my fucking laser." Point is, we now have a bit of a problem. FizzCo is planning to burn Sunset City to the ground, and we need a plan in order to break into FizzCo HQ to find some answers and stop it before it's too late. So Sam decides to send us up north towards downtown Vice City to find the Mexican mafia known as Las Catrinas, because he seems to think that Mexican women are going to help solve the problem, which 99% of the time, you'd be right. After being beaten to a pulp after singing Pop Goes the Weasel, we wake up in what is the Sunset City equivalent of St. Jude's Children's Hospital, with the usual being that we gotta do some shit for the mafia to make them trust us. So we're gonna do some grocery shopping, except it's Dark Souls. With haste, we head into downtown Sunset City, home to literally every robot from the Matrix ready to blast me back into the womb. It's here that we find the legendary sword of anime girls saying Ara Ara, known as Excalibur. Well, I would have found it if the rich millionaire that owns it didn't take it with him. So now, we're gonna have to make our own version. Shit. So we call Wendy to ask her what we need to do to make one. She tells us that we need to get a good source metal, heat that metal, cool it down, and we'll have forged the sword. So the way that I interpreted this conversation is something like this. Step 1, find a body pillow that's not going to make you look like a fucking dipshit loser who isn't a simp to fucking Asuna. So I grabbed Ria's body pillow. Step 2, find something that you can heat that body pillow with. And because it cannot be me, because that's cringe as fuck, I'm instead going to grab a space heater and put the body pillow against that. Step 3, I need something to cool it down with after the body pillow is most likely fucking dust at this point. So let me put that into a box and put that box into the freezer for 7 to 10 business days. What comes out of that box? Excalibur, the sword that can shoot fucking nukes at your enemies like this is World War III. Either that or it's literally anything from the EDF. And we get to test it immediately by absolutely slaughtering the population of Tony Stark's robotic task force. You know, he really doesn't need this many robots, so I'm doing them a favor. After burning a kid's teddy bear, they nerfed me and took the nukes out of my sword, so now I'm a basic bitch. Even so, Floyd tells us to try just a little bit harder, and we try to talk to Esperanza again, but instead we talk to this kid who tells us that he really wants to see a rock concert, and naturally, we're gonna solve it. So we travel across Sunset City looking to put a band together to sing the newest hit single of Chug Jug with You. We go to recruit Wendy's nuts and have to pull her boat in because she can't swim, just like me. 5 minutes later, we meet 4Kim at the concert hall to get her in on the festivities. However, 4Kim wants to teach us about the power of taiko drums. When bouncing and dive bombing on them in quick succession, you can do mass AoE damage to all ODs in the area. I don't think this shows up anywhere else in the game, so this feels kind of useless. After staring at this poster, we head to Club Fuck Off to find King Buzzo, lead singer of one of Sunset City's main rock bands. And after showing him that we definitely aren't a creepy white chick, we head back to the base to talk with Floyd. It's here that we learn that this concert is happening whilst we're protecting the vats from the OD. This concert better be fucking good, because I wouldn't want my kids to be out here while there's alcoholics out. After proceeding to nearly fuck up and fail the mission, King Buzzo just YOLOs out in true Marvel fashion, and Esperanza tells us how to get into FizzCo HQ. Before we start the final main quest of the game, I spent like an hour doing the last side quests around. So let's touch on a few of them. I found this chick faking her death so she can be with her boyfriend on top of a skyscraper. I mean, hey, I can't relate, so I placed a shit ton of flags around the city just to let the robots know that, hey, you're on a man's land, and if you try to walk on it, I'm gonna bust out my 12 gauge and show you what it means to be an American citizen. I went back to D&D Hell to pick up a sword, and the game fucking crashed. I became hardcore with a foam sword. Oh, by the way, did I mention that there's a character that literally just says hardcore for all of his lines and nothing else? Would it also make sense that he's part of the D&D section of the video? Yes. Yes, it would. Ignatius then sends me on a leveling campaign separate from the main campaign from earlier. You know, the one that we finished. In this episode of Fucking Kill Me Already, we defend this guy from some goblins, get leveled up to Warrior Babe level 2, and get tasked to find the One Ring. Why the fuck is this a damn J.R.R. Tolkien reference? This isn't Lord of the Rings, damn it. After reading the very inspiring quote of "get out of the doghouse and into her pants," yes, this is a real quote in game, we proceed to find the One Ring, become a halfling thief babe, and use the bomb launcher again, but with added sugar, spice, and everything nice. Later on, we're now a junior captain and are taking on the final boss of this trial, the final battle of Fargothia, because I guess the battle with King Scat from earlier wasn't good enough. After reaching level 99 through various means, which I am legally unobliged to disclose, we're for real finally done with the D&D shit. I'm just a withered husk now as a result. Ladies, you're gonna have to save me from this one. Give me a hug and I'll be good. So now we look for Hector's last known location at the FizzCo campus, which happens to be an escape pod aimed straight for the water. So we trigger some sensors to let him out, and well, he fucking dies. We then proceed to rob the police of their funding like they totally deserve, and steal some of their parts that we're going to use for totally legal reasons. I also returned to the water treatment plant from like 7 years ago to find that someone took a fucking shit on it. So after cleaning up the mess on aisle 4 and dealing with a lot of FizzCo bots, we help this lady get her quest marker back. What? And in doing so, I experience even more fourth wall breaks in the sense that these characters know that they're quest NPCs, but are happy to be them regardless. This shit feels creepy and I want to go home. So in order to get the quest icon back, we gotta become a bill collector and steal some money from the locals. So after robbing people just like any YouTuber from Los Angeles, we finally go to see Sam at the overpass and discuss our final plan for attacking FizzCo HQ head on. Intent on getting some wicked respawn animations, we charge head on into the corporate office of YouTube HQ. Susan Wojcicki isn't gonna know what hit her. After battling the robot army for a few minutes, Sam tells us that the weapon that's gonna destroy Sunset City is the fucking building itself. So he tells us to use this big overcharge bottle and shoot ourselves up to the top of the building. It should make the building go boom. Maybe. The building explodes, and unfortunately, our player is lost in the crossfire. But this isn't a good ending at all. So using the powers of YouTube Rewind, we choose a different ending. You know, the one where we live, but the machine is still going to destroy the city. Well, shit. Welcome to the final boss of Sunset Overdrive, a big Bertha building with fucking legs, bombs, and of course, enough source material to break Rule 34. This boss has a few things you're gonna need to look out for. It's the culmination of all of the previous boss fights together in one final showdown. The goal, you might ask? Destroy the CPU of FizzCo HQ. You remember that Ryzen 9 69-420X CPU from like 20 minutes ago? Well, FizzCo has one of them too, but it's the deluxe model. We can't have that here in London. It's all about the knife mins here, folks. Good luck getting onto this beast, as there will be lightning running down its legs as if it just pissed itself from looking at you. Lots of taiko drum bouncing and rail grinding will occur, so I really hope you're not bored of it from the last 20 hours that you've endured already. I need you to hold on and stay with me for a few more minutes, Chief. If your girlfriend can say that, then so can I. Oh, by the way, it's controlled by Fizzy. Holy shit, I hate this guy. There is a lot happening on my screen right now, yet my GPU never spun up once during my playthrough, because that's how non-graphically demanding this game is. Take that, Crisis. That actually is the base level of this fight. While you won't have to worry about them too much, ODs and FizzCo bots will be hunting you down on the street, as you quite literally are on a time limit to take this thing down, and you'll be traversing through the entirety of Sunset City on your final quest to save the city and your friends. While While this boss fight is rather simple, it doesn't mean that it still has a solid impact. So now, I think it's only fair that we finish this game off by ending the company that created Alcoholics and put a stop to it so I can go back to my apartment, get drunk, and have a fun time. Also, Sam is gonna get some action with 4Kim. Let's go, Sam! With the main story coming to a close, that wraps up Sunset Overdrive. From here, you do have a few options for your post-game. You can do some of the side quests that you may have missed while soaring around Sunset City, or find the near 900 collectibles scattered around the map. In addition, while I'm not touching on them in this video, cause look at the runtime, brother, you can head to these 2 internet cafes to take part in the game's 2 DLC expansions, taking place at the Mool Rig and FizzCo Robotics. If this video does well, maybe I'll make a follow-up covering the DLC, but given I've talked about 40 minutes about this game already, I think I'm good for now. So, what are my final thoughts on Sunset Overdrive? This game is a forgotten gem of a title, one that is underrated and deserves so much more attention. I love when Insomniac managed to put on the table with their gameplay, by taking all of their previous works and mashing it together into one amazing package. Whether this be the vast open world of Sunset City to explore, as well as the many ways you're able to traverse through it, to its incredible arsenal of unique weapons that help provide the player with a hectic but simple loadout, which is something that Insomniac has been known to do with all of their games. To its gameplay upgradability with amps and overdrives to enhance everything about your character in a simple yet impactful way, or maybe extra utility options with traps that help fight back against the OD, to the large amount of side quest content for the player to do, some of which being unique in their own ways, or simply loads of character customization through various shops to make your character look like a fucking cringelord. Sunset Overdrive has one of the best gameplay feature sets of any game I've played ever. However, the only real main issue that I have with this game is its quests felt fairly similar to each other. A lot of the quests felt something like, defend this, stall for this, collect this, talk to this person, go get this, over and over again. Now, I don't really mind this at all. It keeps the game simple without having to worry about some weird or awkward quest that you're gonna have to search up an IGN article about just to complete it. What I love about this game is its simplicity. The story isn't complex, it's simple to understand, and it doesn't have 7 layers to it like it's a fucking novel. The gameplay is simple to figure out, and everything is explained right from the get-go so that you know what you're doing. This game kinda just screams, have fun all the time. You don't gotta worry about this stuff. It'll come naturally. And quite frankly, I enjoyed my time with this game. In fact, I loved every second of it. Sunset Overdrive only went on to sell 1.9 million copies, have 2 free DLC expansions, and a season pass in 2014 and 2015. It was planned for multiple sequels and spin-offs, as shown in the Insomniac leak from last year. And with publishing rights in the hands of Microsoft and the game's IP rights in the hands of Sony and/or Insomniac Games, I find it very unlikely that we'll see Sunset Overdrive return in any capacity in the future, due to its poor sales, publishing issues, and Sony just not really giving a shit. So until then, please go check out this game. It's a must-have in any gamer's collection, as it is a timeless classic and a forgotten gem of the mid-2010s that everybody needs to play. Regardless, my hands and my voice hurts from making this video, and I want a bit of a break, so I'ma head out. My name's PandaPowerSauce, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.